Welcome back my friends on our channel. So for this video, we'll be having our discussion regarding the different comparison operators used in Python programming. Okay, so without further ado, let's start our tutorial. Okay, so here we are with the discussion on the comparison operator. So basically, when we say comparison operators, these are the operators that is used to compare two or more variables in our coding. Comparative operators or statements actually have an output either true or false or a boolean output. So I have here the table for you for the summary of the different comparison operators available for Python programming. So first of all, as you can see in our table, we have the double equal sign, and that is the description is equal to, so the syntax is x double equal sign, or that actually means x equal to y. So don't be confused with the single equal sign and the double equal sign, because for the single equal sign, that is an assignment operator that we are already using based on our previous video. So more likely it is used for assigning some data on our variables. For example, our variable is x, so x equals 1. That is an assignment operator, and that is very far different from the equal to operator, which is the double equal sign. Okay, so next operator, we have here the less than symbol, and that is the less than. Syntax is x less than y or x less than y. Greater than, so greater than description, x is greater than y. So for this operator, less than and equal sign, that is read by as less than or equal, the syntax is x less than or equals y. So x is less than or equal to y. For the next operator, we have here the greater than sign and of course the equal sign. Description is greater than or equal. For the syntax, we have here x greater than equals y, or it is read as x is greater than or equal to y. Lastly, we have this exclamation point and the equal sign. Basically, exclamation point together with the equal sign stands for not equal to. That is the description for that operator. Syntax, we have here x exclamation point equal sign y, and that is read as x is not equal to y. Okay, so for our task regarding the comparison operators, we have here the task: ask two numbers input from the user and use it in each of the operator presented in previous slide. Okay, so print the result whether it is true or false. So let's now here go to our Jupyter notebook. We're now here in our Jupyter notebook. First, let's have our title, comparison operators. So, okay, comparison operators. Let's have here the markdown for us to be able to have this as the title. Okay, so comparison operators. Let's go back to our table. Let's first have the equal to. Okay, but before the equal to operator, we should first, based on our instruction, ask two numbers from the user. So let's write it as num1. So input, let's write here enter first number. So the user will be the one who will enter the number. So num2 input, enter second number. Okay, so since this is actually another input function used, since based on our previous tutorial regarding the input function usage, it is interpreted by the Python as a text. So meaning to say we should convert this into an integer. Same with this one. Let's have int here. And okay. So now for the num1 double equal sign, we are asking the Python if the number 1 is equals to the number 2. We are using here the double equal operator. So num2, and let's try to run. So enter first number. Let's try to have 2. Second number, let's have here 5. So 2 is not equals to 5. So basically the answer here should be false. So let's check. Let's enter this. And so we get it, guys. False. So let's try again. Let's try having 5 and 5. So the answer here must be true. Enter. Okay, so that is again for the equal to operator. Okay, so for the less than, let's try here. Less than. Let's have here our comment equal to. For the less than, let's check number 1 less than num2. So the answer must be, anyway, let's have here different input first, 3 and 5. So this is false. Number 1 is 3 less than 5. So the answer here must be true. Okay, so let's check. Let's run. Okay, so that is for the less than. Next, for the greater than, using the same number 3 and 5. So for the greater than, let's have num1 greater than num2, and let's run it. And that is false. Why? Because number 1, which is 3, is not greater than number 2, or our second number, which is 5. That's why our answer here is false. Okay, so next, less than or equals to. Let's just copy this one. Less than or equal to. Answer here must be true. Okay, so we're correct again. Next, we have the greater than or equal to. Greater than. So greater than or equal to. Let's just copy this and add a equal sign. Answer here will be false. Why? Because again, number 1, which is 3, and number 2, which is 5, 3 is not greater than 5. That's why our answer is false. Okay, so lastly, not equal to. So let's have here not equal to num1 exclamation point equal sign num2. So since 3 and 5 are different numbers, they're not the same, the answer here must be true. Okay, so we need to say we are correct. But if we will try, guys, to have same input here, let's have here 10 and 10, and it is true equals to, then let's run this. This will be a false, since number 1 is now equals to number 2. They are now both 10. So let's run this. False. Okay, so I hope you get it, my friends. That's how the comparison operators to work. Okay, so we're done with our first task. Next, for the comparison operators are mostly used together with the if-else statement. Now, with regards to the if-else statement, the syntax is here. If and then the comparison, that is what we have tackled earlier, this table. So this is the comparison. Then do something. Take note of the inserted. This is actually inserted. So do something. If that is not met, the case on this function is not met, and the comparison is not met, else do something. So basically, this violet font is the if-else statement syntax. Okay, now, since based on this slide, it says that the comparison operators are mostly used together with the if-else statement. Therefore, let's have our first task. So for the first task, since this is a playlist in line for the preparation for our algorithmic trading, our first task is to create a Python code that will tell you whether to buy or to sell a specific asset based on the user input on the current values of MA20 and MA50. Note, if for non-traders here who are watching this video, if you are trying to learn Python at your own, MA stands for moving average, or a technical indicator used in financial markets trading. Anyway, even if you are not a trader yourself, you can still adapt on this tutorial. This is really made into beginner's level. So the example is somehow related only on financial markets. But if you don't want to use your programming knowledge from this playlist in financial markets trading, it's still okay. Okay, so let's try it. Let's go again to our Jupyter Notebook. So for the first task, let's have first our input on MA. So MA20 and MA50. So let's have our input here. And again, since this is a number, the input of the user will be a number. Let's convert this into float. Why float? Because sometimes there is a decimal point for the moving averages, since we are talking all about the trading financial markets. So float is better than integer this time. Okay, so input current MA20 value. Okay, so next here, let's just copy this, change the 20 into 50. So current MA50 value. Okay, now let's use now the syntax that is presented a while ago. If the comparison is met, do something. If not, else do something. So let's make it. If, guys, the idea for non-traders here, the idea here of using a lagging indicator just like the moving average, if the smaller moving average goes up, the higher moving average, which is on our case that is 50, longer time frame, that means we should buy. And if MA20 goes below, if the value of MA20 is lower than MA50, we should sell. So that's basically how trading using the moving average works. So let's check it. If MA20 is greater than MA50, then enter. Don't forget this. Enter. Let's enter here. Oops. Okay. What we will do? It says here that do something. So if MA20 is above MA50, we can now print buy. Okay? Else, if it is not met, else we should print based on our instruction na whether to buy or to sell specific asset based on the user input on the current MA20 and MA50 values. So print, of course. If not, we should sell. Okay, so let's try to run the code. So upon running, as you can see here, invalid syntax. It says that the syntax is invalid. So do you think what is the reason why? Okay, So, do you see our error, my friends? This is actually one of the basic errors encountered by programmers. Okay, so actually, the error here is that we have here an open parenthesis, another open parenthesis, so we have two, but we only have one closing parenthesis for both MA20 and MA50. So meaning to say we lacking of another parenthesis here, another parenthesis here. So take note, this must be green, same with this one. Okay, so that is the error. Don't forget that. That's actually one of the basic errors encountered by programmers. Okay, so let's run our code now. So current MA20 value is 2, for example. That's just a guess. So current MA50 value, for example, let's enter this 5. So since MA20 is 2 and MA50 is 5, and as you can see on our codes, if MA20 is greater than MA50, since 2 is not greater than 5, so we invalidated this code, and what will be the result will be the else. Of course, this will have an output of cell. So let's see if we are correct. So let's enter. Okay, so we are correct. It actually output cell. Okay, so let's try to interchange the values. So let's have here 5, value of MA20 is 5, for example, and the value of MA50 is 2. For example, the value of MA50 is 2. So MA25, MA52, so 5 is now greater than 2. And if that is the case, this should have an output of by. Let's see. Let's click the button enter. By. Okay, so we are now done with our task. Let's go back to our PowerPoint tutorial. Okay, so here it says here that what if the two inputs of moving average from the user is of the same value? Because actually in our coding a while ago, we have used number 2 and number 5 as our values. But what if the question is, what if the moving average 20 is 5 and the moving average 50 is also 5? So what will be the output? We should buy or we should sell? What should we do? Actually, if that is the case, we should do nothing. Actually, and that is the code that is not included in our coding before. Now, our task 2 is almost the same with our previous task, but this time, we should create a Python code that will tell you whether to buy, sell, so not just buy and sell, or do nothing. So now we have 3 conditions: buy, sell, or do nothing on specific asset based on the user input on the current values of MA20 and MA50. Anyway, so still we can do that. Note that again, MA20 stands for moving average, which is one of the technical indicators, most popular technical indicators used in the study of financial markets and of course in trading the financial markets. Okay, so let's go back to our Jupyter notebook. Okay, so let's just copy this, guys. Okay, let's just copy and paste. Now, the condition is, this is actually correct, but we have another condition. If the values of MA20 and MA50 is the same, we should print do nothing. Okay? Actually, if-else statement can have another if-else statement below. Okay? Just like this. If MA20 is greater than MA50, buy. Else here, else if, let's try to have another code. If MA50 is greater than MA20, don't forget this, then enter, we should print sell. This is the second one. Since we have another if here we are actually doing a nested if-else statement. Since we have if here, we should also have here else, just like these two. Okay, so if MA50 is greater than MA20, print cell, the counterpart of this one. If this is still not adhered by the numbers input by the user, else let's print do nothing, meaning this is the time that the user has input the same values, the user has input the same number, so we should now do nothing. Okay, so let's check. First, let's have 2 and 5. So answer here must be cell. So we are correct with that. It's just the same with our coding before. Next, we should have now 5, vice versa. 5 and 2. Answer now must be by. Okay, so let's try this third condition. Run. Let's have now 5 and another 5 for the current MA50 values. Then enter. This should, guys, take note, this should have an output of do nothing. So let's enter. Okay, so meaning we are now done with our coding regarding the topic of the comparison operators on the if-else statement. Okay, so I think that's it for now, my friends, and I hope you learned something from this video tutorial regarding the comparison operators. So don't forget to like, comment, and share this video to your friends who are also currently learning Python programming, especially those who are wanting to venture in the great world of financial markets trading, automated trading, algorithmic trading. Okay, so this is the Engineer Trader, your partner from learning to earning. And as always, may your trades be great. Bye-bye.